Welcome to Coach Business. I'm your host, Caryn Gillen, and today I get to be the coach as well. We've got Vanessa here, and she is also a coach, willing to be coached for all of our enjoyment. I know everyone loves these episodes. So, Vanessa, thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. Tell us a little bit about who you serve.
Okay, so I'm, I guess, a general life coach, but the people I really love to work with are people who like to see coaching as a an exploration, a journey of some kind, rather than people who are just out for some sort of specific result. I mean,
Mhm.
hopefully we get results as well, but for me, coaching is about exploring yourself, your brain, your behavior, using, all the tools I've learned, bits of science, bits of philosophy,
Mhm.
anything you can throw at it. But it's that seeking and journey part that I think is what I'm attracted to and what I hope the people I coach will be attracted to.
I mean, it makes complete sense to me because you're an archaeologist.
Yes.
Like, so if you want to get coached by someone who's interested in excavation and finding things out and being in discovery, Vanessa is a great coach for you.
Yeah, and also I think one of the other links is so archaeology has to use an incomplete record of little bits that get left behind, and sometimes that's
Yeah.
more complete than others, to piece together behavior in the past, because
Mhm.
that was one of the first things I learned when I started studying archaeology, was that it's not, archaeology doesn't study just the past, it studies human behavior in the past, and it
Mhm.
studies that using what's left in the present. And that's very different um, from, yeah, thinking about trying to put together the whole picture. So you're using sort of evidence that isn't always clear how it links back
Mhm.
to what you're trying to find. And yeah, I guess that's another similarity.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, they seem so related to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's all about human behavior, right? That's my
Yeah,
thing.
exactly. Okay. So what are we going to coach on today?
Okay, so probably now that I think I managed to articulate that quite well. um, but I think one of the things I've been stumbling up against when I'm trying to, develop material and speak to my people is, firstly, that whole question of results. Like, there's a lot of coaching that talks about, what result are you offering? You've got to sell the
Mhm.
result. People don't want to know how you're going to get them there. They just want to know where you're going to get them to. And so I guess how that relates to what I've just said and how I feel about coaching. That's and how I can um, find people who are interested in the same thing as me when there's a lot of noise about, you know, well, my niche is I help you make more money, or I help you lose weight, or, and there's nothing wrong with any
Mhm.
of those things, but I don't have those one-off single results that I'm drawn to.
Yeah. What's the result of archaeology?
Mm. Um, well, I suppose generally, like history in general, I mean, it's to make a story about human behavior in the past, and to refine that story um, as best you can, and then to, if it's really good, to then be able to, I guess, extrapolate that to broader, um, general things about human behavior. The
Mhm.
same way in, like, a good novel will tell a specific story about the behavior of specific characters, but then that links to, you know, insights into broader human behavior as well, and what it's all about and why we're here and what's the
Mhm.
point anyway, type stuff. As deep as you want to get, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, I love just that question, what's the point anyway, as a marker for your work. Um okay, so if archaeology, what comes to me is like refining human behavior, creating better stories or creating better lives. I mean, everything you're doing, you're helping people create insights about their own life and change their story or improve their story, or is it just know their story?
Well, I guess, we coaches always say, right, awareness precedes change. So then once you're aware of it, you can choose if you want to change it or not.
Mm-hmm.
Um, like we can choose if we learn the lessons from history or we don't, you know, and people take different lessons from the same set of events. So
Mm-hmm.
it's all open to personal interpretation. So I guess that's up to the individual. But yes, I would hope that the people that get the most out of coaching and that coaching for myself would be about um, yeah, making your life better sounds a little bit
I
like
didn't
there's
like it
some
either.
sort of, yeah,
Yeah.
like some sort of moral compass in there or
Mm-hmm.
something, which it doesn't have to be about. But like, yeah, so a deeper understanding to me leads to a better life in some way anyway. But yes, making your life better in a way that isn't just about, ticking stuff off your to-do list or, being kinder to your grandmother or something.
Yeah.
Not that you can't do those things, but yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So where are we right now in terms of what you want to achieve with this call? I just have asked a bunch of questions and kind of lost the thread.
Well, so I guess I'm trying to, given that, we're working together to grow my coaching business, I
Yeah.
guess I'm trying to work out how to, well, firstly, how to market that concept, those concepts we've just been speaking about, but also, I guess, for me going forward, how to the first step might be how to translate the marketing advice or the business advice or business growth advice that I'm getting into something that relates to those concepts rather than, well, tell them what result they're getting and then they'll
Mhm.
want to buy your thing.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think a lot of the result based, be so clear about your results stuff comes from a lot of online marketing stuff and things that need to lead to ads and work really well for funnels. And you don't have to be there yet. I wonder about for you because I know this has been a question on your journey for a long time. What if we didn't care about like doing good results marketing kind of language? What if we left that behind as something we found in the whole dig around how to build a successful coaching practice and realize that's from a different culture, wrong time frame, not for us.
Intrusive, out of context, we would
Yeah.
say, yeah, put it in the spoil heap. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I like that idea. I'm very good at doing that, like when I read books or, watch some material online or whatever, I'll take the bits that apply to me and I won't
Mm-hmm.
I won't suddenly change everything I do because one person said you have to do it this way. I take the bits that I find useful. I guess having spent time saying I'm not about results. I mean, the results are I want to coach more people, right? So
Mm-hmm.
I guess as long as avoiding that and I found something else to do instead that was going to bring me more people to coach, then I would be totally on board with that.
Yeah. And I think about it as like, what if you just went past it? What if we decided the results are you are a change prep coach or a ready for change coach or a deeper understanding coach or a refining human behavior guide and we just moved forward because there's
Yeah.
like let's just decide what you have works and go do everything on the other side of it to be in the practice of building, welcoming in, talking to. Could we just go?
Yeah, I guess that's maybe where I've been struggling a bit is like, what is go? Like, what do I do then? Like,
Yeah. What
where
would
do
you
I,
do if you had the perfect niche that was results focused? What would be the next 5 steps you would take?
um, well, probably some of the things we've been talking about in our work together in Comfortable in Business, like do freebies to send those out to people, develop a bite-sized offer to let people try a little taste of something without committing to, a huge program or anything.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, and then eventually, when I'd taken more people through some of that stuff, I think it's always been my idea to develop, um, not exactly a framework because I think it's very individualized, but like a more explicit process as well.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. But I think there's roots of your coaching process in archaeology.
Yeah.
Like I'm
Yeah, and I've
guessing.
written about that, like,
Yeah.
on
Yeah.
how the things link, on the
Hmm.
blog that I write and stuff like that. But yeah,
Yeah. I mean, here's what I feel like I know about your ideal client. Tell me if I'm wrong. There's someone who's interested in their own story. They have curiosity about their own life. They
yeah,
want to dig around in what's going on for them.
yeah,
And yeah, like they just want to have somebody like ask them really great questions and help them to discover themselves in a new way.
yeah. And probably they're, interested in the process a bit as well.
Yeah.
Like,
To
because
learn.
archaeology is probably nothing if not also very much a process. I mean, you
Hmm.
can do history as a historian, but archaeology requires a different set of tools and a different understanding of a different process. So, yeah, hopefully my ideal clients would also be interested in understanding a bit about the tools we use and the brain science behind it, because I'm always learning more about that and have new tools coming up all the time that tap into
Hmm.
that.
So rather than it be a hopefully they're people who are interested in, how about we just decide my ideal clients are interested in the tools
Yeah,
behind it, the deeper understanding. They want to know the new science when the science comes out. They're excited that I share that with them. Is there do you know any like demographic information about these people? Is it anybody? Is it men, women, 40s, 26-year-olds? Like, who are these people? If you know, it could be that it's wide open.
I think. I, yeah, I'm not 100% sure on that. I don't think there's necessarily an age barrier, although I do think that this can often be something that you come to when you're a bit older.
Hmm.
Um, I I sort of see myself as kind of very Gen X.
Hmm.
I even actually have an original copy of the book, like before Gen X was even like a demographic thing. It was just a book.
Uh-huh.
Um, so yeah, like I guess people my age that have been through, grew up in the 80s and early 90s, and been through like the different world that it was then with Cold War and all sorts of those kind of concerns that we had in
Yeah.
our childhoods, and then sort of seeing things kind of move away, come back, move away again,
Yeah.
and then just sort of thinking, yeah, is this all there is? Like, is this it? Like, where are we now?
Yeah. I mean, so when you pick a generation like that, you get to use a lot of cultural references that will call in people in very specific ways. Like you can talk about the wall, you can talk about certain music, you can talk about all these things that will be calling cards for your people that create a lot of trust and belonging for them.
Yeah. I think I've tried to do that a little bit, like that Talking Heads song is one of the things I've sent to my email list about,
Yeah,
like, how did I get here?
exactly. It's your
Those
like,
types of things.
it's the
Yeah.
calling card for your people.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So if the next thing were to be to create a freebie and you're like, okay, it's for Gen Xers who want to do self exploration, who are interested in learning about the tools and like learning the story of them, could you make something for them? Can you think about like, does any creativity start to spark for you?
I think I think I one of the things that it sometimes stops my creativity is like I have too many things, so I think it would take me some time to narrow that down, because I want to tell everybody everything all at once,
Hmm.
Oh, when you've
Yeah.
got to hear about this and that and then the other thing, or
Yeah.
I want to start at the latest thing I read about, memory reconsolidation or something, but I probably have to take people back a bit before they can even sort of work
Hmm.
out what I'm talking about, but I think, there are some basic concepts that I think there's that underlie, every coaching and every type of exploration. um my concern sometimes is that those feel a bit too simplistic. Like, I mean, to me, like,
Yeah.
sometimes I joke with my friends or my coachy friends, it's like, or other friends, it's like, well, I just tell you, that your circumstances don't affect, you don't cause how you feel, and whatever you're doing, it's fine, and don't beat yourself up. And, like, basically that's it. That's all I'm ever going to say as your coach. Like, but I mean, like, it's kind of true, right? Like, those are
Yeah.
kind of the things that sometimes boils down to. But I guess if I could create a freebie or a sort of thing that could actually convey to people that these concepts can be life changing, but they're not, just reading them and thinking you understand them isn't what it's all about.
Well, and I wonder about not going back to the start, not slowing down and going and doing the early work. Like, what if you just came in at the 400 level coursework? Like, and just because if you think about when we find people at different stages of our development, we find teachers and we dive right in wherever they are, whatever they're teaching. Sometimes we go back and read everything from 1972 that they wrote, but sometimes we don't. Sometimes we just stick with them where they are and we move forward. And I wonder if the idea that I have to like get everything going or do it right from the start is a major hurdle that you could just skip. And just like, what if you just started now and you just put stuff out that was interesting? And when you wanted to share it, you shared it. And you didn't think about how it all came together. And a year from now, it would potentially make perfect sense.
Yeah, I think I feel like I can do that with just general communications like social media or email list, but I guess when I'm thinking about developing something like a freebie or a bite-sized offer or something people might actually buy, I sort of feel a bit more like I need to explain stuff, and that
Okay.
could be like, that could be an unhelpful thought. I don't know, but I'm just
As
imagining it,
long
and
as
that's
it's
what's coming
explained
to
enough
mind.
to be compelling, for sure. But I think like I want to keep working on that with you in the membership. But what I want to get at today is like, I think you have it. Do you think you have it? I think this is a clear enough place to do everything from and to get started or to keep going from.
Yeah, um I think I feel like I don't I don't know how to translate that into consistent action and any sort of, like, even if it's not about like any sort of results, it's
Mm-hmm.
like about, or even just the trial and error of like, well, that didn't work or that did, or, I feel like I've been just keeping going with stuff for a long time, probably not in an optimal level, obviously, but it's sort of like, well, when do I know when to not just keep going? Like, when does this actually become something where I've got to choose a direction, or I've got to say that it isn't working or it is, or
Yeah.
yeah, I feel a bit like this could, sure, I could just indefinitely throw stuff out there about all of this and maybe five people will read it, and yeah, great. But
And
that's
that's exactly
probably,
where everybody starts.
yeah, but I feel like I've been doing that for a while, and I don't know what the next thing to do is. Like, or do I just have to keep doing that for another 3 years or something? I don't know.
I think there's a difference here that is there's what you have been doing, holding in your mind that I don't quite have this figured out yet, and I don't know who my people are. And that creates a certain energy and a certain kind of content. Whereas if we let ourselves just go and let it be messy and let it come out wrong and find and like in the practice of I am willing to show up and throw this stuff out there because it inspires me, it's interesting to me, I know that my people like learning stuff like this. So I'm just going to figure it out as I go. Something's going to happen, but it doesn't get to happen until it happens in the practice of you doing it.
Right. When you were just speaking then, actually something shifted. I feel like rather than sort of trying to like hone or decide what my message is and what I'm trying to say, I'm what I'm doing is like searching for those people. Like, you know, you've said
Right.
they exist. Those people are there. If we you know, if we just assume that there are those people that we talked about at the beginning, you know, that are
Mm-hmm.
into and want to explore this stuff, then my job is just to work out where the hell they are, right?
To be the beacon, like your work is truly that like thing that they can find out there
Yeah.
blinking. Like I'm putting stuff out, I'm dropping deposits out in the world every time I put something out there that one of my people can find and find me when it's the right time for them.
Yeah. But I guess that like in the past I felt like I'm putting stuff out there that would be helpful or you know that is a beacon to the people I want to see, but I was putting it out there just without any awareness of, well, will they see it or won't they? And that was like my stumbling point. Like, well, how do I
Mm-hmm.
know if anyone's even seeing it, or how do I know if the right people are seeing it? And
Right.
whereas now I kind of think like maybe then if I shift that a little bit to think, well, my job is not to like you know try and perfect the message. My
Correct.
job is for the moment is to go out and try and work out, okay, I've got a real vision of who these people are. If we
Make
perhaps in the
cool stuff
past
for
I've
them.
doubted that they existed, so if I just like decide to think, well, they do exist, well, then I have to go find them, right? Like I have to work
Yeah.
out where they are, as well as keeping the message and doing the content. But like that gives me something that's more. It's not a every time you don't hear back or something doesn't get any traction. Like it doesn't mean that it was the wrong thing necessarily, but it might just mean that you haven't found the place where the right people can find it yet.
Because you'll put out 100 things and 85 of those things won't get any traction.
Yeah,
Totally fine. But you have to put out the 100 to get the 15 that get some traction,
yeah,
right?
but yeah, yeah, but I think the shift is like assuming that those people are there somewhere.
Yeah. And trusting that they're there. That if
Yeah,
you're here, that if you are in this moment and have this call to do this work with these people, that they're here. I mean, I have a belief that if this is in you, that your people are here. And you're welcome to steal that belief from me. I just think of it as the truth.
yeah, I think that's probably not a belief I've had previously.
Yeah.
It's been a
And most,
question like, are there people out there like this? You know, but that shift of going, yeah, let's just assume there are for now,
yes. Yeah.
and see what difference that makes.
Yep. And go be of service to them, even if you can't see them for now.
Yeah,
That's what
yeah,
we're all being called to do. And everybody wants a lot of proof and they want the world to come back and give them the proof that I'm on the right track. But oftentimes that proof doesn't come for a while. But
yeah,
what I know is that you're here and this has been consistent for you the entire time I've known you. This track that we're talking through right now, it's always been here. It wants to come out,
yeah.
and you're the person for the job.
Okay, mission accepted.
Okay, good. All right. Well, thank you for being here to talk that through out loud because I think it's a really relatable thing to be on that fence and constantly always be wondering if I can fall off one side or if I should do something different or it's a fence you don't want to sit on for too long. And I know that you know the discomfort of that.
For sure.
Yeah. So thank you.
Thank you.
Who can relate? Who can relate to Vanessa in that I want to get this right and I kind of keep sitting on that fence of wanting to get it right. Um, I mean, you're in luck. I created a new freebie for you. It's called the 20-minute niche cure, and we'll put that in the show notes. But also, like, it's a real uncomfortable place to sit there for a long time. So maybe you could tell in my coaching, I'm someone who's interested in action because I think when we take action, we get new data. And my greatest hope for Vanessa, as you listen to this playback, is that you take a bunch of action to get a bunch of new data, to get a bunch of new pieces, a bunch of new artifacts for your own excavation into what your niche is and like how you serve these people who are so clearly out there and so clearly interested in the processes that I know you're going to come up with for them. But for any of you sitting on the fence who want my support, this is something we absolutely do in Comfortable in Business is figure out where exactly is all this going? How is all this connected? How is who I am and how I want to help and who I want to serve connected? And how do I put all that together in a way that works for business? And then take action on it and then keep taking action on it and then learn from it and then keep learning from it. That is what we're doing. Like that is what creates sustainable and consistent 5K months. That's what we want for you is to have this ability to put stuff out there and learn from it what you will and sell interesting things that are fun for you to deliver. All right. I hope you have a great rest of your day. Thank you for listening to the podcast. If you know anyone who needs to hear that episode, I hope you'll share it with them. That's the way the podcast grows, and I always appreciate it. All right. Have a great day. Thank you.